Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining our webinar, So You Want to Be an OWASP Speaker. My name is Avi Douglen. Joining us today is Shira Shamban and Izar Tarandach. Quick intro.
And that's what we mean when we say there's your academic voice. Okay. Quick intro. Shira, you first.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so happy to be able to share some of my experience with the OWASP community about call for papers anyway. I'm Shira Shamban. I was the founder and CEO of a startup called Solvo in the cloud security domain. And other than that, I've been an OWASP enthusiast for the past 8 or 9 years, mostly thanks to Avi, by the way, who got me into the organization. Nowadays, I'm also co-leading the Israeli chapter. Pleasure to share the virtual stage with both of you today.
Avi, you go.
I am the founder and CEO of a small boutique called Bounce Security, and up until just 2 weeks ago, I was on the OS board of directors, no longer free agent. I have so much free time now, helping organize. Shout out
And
to
that was 30 seconds until he said that. Okay. It's a new record.
Shout out to AppSec Israel conference coming up in May. Fantastic. In sunny Tel Aviv. Worth showing up for that. Izar?
Yeah, so I am a guy that likes to threat model and to talk very fast and move my hands all the time. And for whatever is in here, I I am the current OWASP events committee chair. I think that's the right order. And I am on a terrible crusade to make these events a bit less formal and a bit more fun. So I'm hoping that this is going to be one of those, and that Shira and Avi are going to get into the mindset now.
With that being said, I want to revisit this in reverse order. Izar, why are we the ones to be talking about submitting the CFP?
Because we got rejected so many times. So yeah, basically, the three of us, we are experienced presenters, right? So once upon a time, we've been where you are. We've been thinking to ourselves, I would really like to present, and I would really like to go in front of all these people and show my work and show the stuff that I'm doing. How do I do that, right? And back then, in the prehistory of these things, the way that you did it was you wrote a submission after another, after another, after another, and you got rejected again and again and again. As I say here in the middle line, more rejections than a teenager looking for a prom date, right? And basically the same effect. But we didn't get tired, we didn't lose our hope, and we kept submitting until we got to look behind the curtain and understand how these things happen and be part of the selection and be part of the people who read these submissions and say, yeah, this is good enough and I want people to see this, or no, this needs a bit more work. So we think that we are enabled to give you all these pointers and tips and caveats just because we experienced them ourselves, and because today we are part of the gate, let's call it like that, the gate that everybody has to pass in order to get in front of a global AppSec audience.
I would see us more as the headhunters that are trying to select the best choices. Recruiters, so to speak.
Oh, recruiters good. Headhunters not good, because you got me to a completely different place now. Okay.
Recruiters, yes. Do you have anything to add?
Actually, I'm enjoying your guy. This is the first time I'm presenting with both of you, and I'm really enjoying just listening to you. But I will take this opportunity maybe to share with our attendees, because I guess the reason they are here is that they are making their first steps into the world of becoming a speaker and submitting. And you guys will get rejected. It happens to all of us. It happened to all of us. It will most likely happen to us in the future as well. It happened to me in the past that one conference wrote a very nasty rejection email to me. So I just want to let you know this also could happen. Don't let this intimidate you. There are some people like that out there. It's not your fault.
So Shira is being extremely polite, and I'm going to say it in a different way. It will happen. You will be rejected. The point that we're
Yeah,
trying
you
to
will be.
make is
Not everyone will be nasty, though.
Not at
yes,
OWASP. Nobody's nasty at OWASP.
No.
no promises.
Actually, people at OWASP
No.
will give you a feedback that you can
Yes,
later
that's the
use.
important point, and we are going to go back into it into another slide. But you will get rejected. But the way that we reject you will make you better. So stick with us. Next one.
Before we go to the next one, I just want to point out something Shira mentioned. Izar and I have been doing a version of this workshop at the Global AppSec events for the past several years, 5 or 6 times, I don't remember exactly. And many people have gone on to be accepted to the conference by following our tips, by workshopping ideas together. So it can happen.
Yes.
You'll all get that chance.
So what we're doing here, right, and why? First of all, we want you. It's one of those cases of Uncle Izar wants you to present. So yes, we want new people. Our aim here is to help you get that first acceptance. Once you get one, the first one is free and the rest just comes. But once you get the first one, it's easy to get the second one and then go on and on and on and on. We are offering you guidance. We are sharing with you again that view from behind the curtain, and that's all that we are giving you. There's absolutely no guarantees, no promises, no nothing. You will have to do the work, right? And in this edition of the workshop, we are talking only about the CFP, the call for papers. We have a number of different submission channels that we accept. We have the call for training, the call for papers, the call for pods. Name to be determined, but let's call it today call for pods. And you may find over the course of this workshop that perhaps you don't want to present a talk. You might figure out that, hey, you want to do training, or that you have this amazing activity that you want people to spend 2 hours on, what in other conferences gets called a village, and you want to run a pod, right? So I think that what we have to offer you here is going to apply for those situations as well. There will be details. There are things that differentiate those two channels, but we hope to give you at least a leg up in starting, or at least getting past the blank page. Let's call it like that.
Okay, so it's kind of hard to do this in a virtual workshop, but I want everybody to take 2 minutes, 90 seconds. Write down now, whether it's a text file or notepad, whatever you're comfortable with. Dictate to ChatGPT if you prefer using voice, whatever you're comfortable with. Write down your suggested idea the way it is right now, just to have a starting point, okay? Just take it. We're going to workshop it later, or you'll workshop it later based on our tips, just to have a starting point to think about what you want to be talking about. Everybody's here, I assume everybody's here because you want to be presenting at a conference about something. I assume it's not just for the fame and fortune of being on stage.
Wait, there's fortune?
No fortune, just fame. And even that. I assume there's something that you want to be talking about. And you know what? If there's not, there's probably something that you do in your day-to-day that is of interest to other people. So we're going to take a moment now. While I'm talking, I'm going to keep talking, just ignore me. Write it down.
But pay attention, there's something here. We stuck this last line here because we had to stick it somewhere, and we thought, hey, we might as well just put it in the beginning. Keep in mind, people, the one for Europe, for Vienna, 2026, June, is still open, February 3rd. So you still have a chance to send your submission for that one. Look at the bottom here. And the one for the US, that's going to be in November, I believe, in San Francisco, is going to open mid-February. So pay attention. Dates are important. Sending an email later on and saying, oops, I missed the date. Can I get into it? No, you can't. No, you should have followed the date. Okay? So pay attention to the dates, people. It's important. Now go and do your
Can I also have some shameless plug and mention the call for papers for AppSec Israel that is actually open right now and will be open until March 1st. Now, actually, as you quite rightfully mentioned, every year I get an email from someone who missed the last day of submission. Oh, I didn't know that the time zone It was
Yeah, the time
midnight in
zone. It's always
Israel
the time
and
zone.
not midnight Pacific. Yeah, why did you wait for the last day with this? So yeah, it's actually a great idea to submit early. Sometimes you will get feedback and be able to make some changes to the submission.
Yes.
Very often, we, like the Israeli team, we ask questions like, can you elaborate on this? What did you intend to present here? And this is helping the submitter to help us help them get accepted.
Yep. So
While everybody's writing down their ideas, I want to address some of the comments here. Yana, are there any limitations on the subject of the talks? We're going to get into that in a bit more in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a wider pointer is the entire wide tent of OWASP. Anything related to application security or anything adjacent to that. That doesn't mean writing web applications, doesn't only mean that, right? Literally anything within that scope of OWASP.
And the
Dan,
scope
we're
is
going to
actually
get
getting wider from year to year, just because all the domains are overlapped to a certain extent. So cloud security is overlapping with application security, and AI is overlapping with application security. So pretty much any domain that you can think of in cybersecurity could have an interesting angle in application security as well.
But, and this is a pet peeve of mine, do not try to throw the whole spaghetti in the wall and see what sticks. Do not submit something about the influence of AI in cloud security on IoT associated with the OWASP top 10 privacy and the color of I don't know what. No, it doesn't work like that. Sorry?
On the blockchain.
There you go. On the blockchain, of course, on the blockchain.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not in blockchain, it doesn't exist. So please don't. Keep focused, right? Stick to your guns, stick to the stuff that you know, and we're going to talk a lot more about it in a second.
And we're going to talk more about the scope because sometimes different events will have a different specific scope. So always read the scope and the suggested topics and the domains for each CFP. That goes back to Anita's question as well. Dan, we're going to talk about what the submission will look like in a second as well. Now,
Okay.
Assuming everybody has their written idea or outline or some title that they wanted to be working on, put that aside, keep that in mind, and we're going to move forward. So what is it we're talking about, Izar?
So we are talking global events here, right? On average, any global event gets something around 300 presentations and 25 training submissions. I can tell you that yesterday we finished the training triage for Vienna, and we had 39 submissions. Each one of them really, really, really good. But we have very limited space. We have very limited time, and unfortunately, we have to choose, right? So traditionally, we have had 2 days for presentations on 5 tracks, which were developer and security champions, defender, breaker, builder, and manager and culture. Now things are changing a bit because I was bored. No, because we had to. So next one. We are changing these things a bit now. So the new reality is we are going to have 2 days for presentations, still 5 tracks. The first one is going to be design and ideation. The second, implementation. The third, testing. The fourth, deployment and maintenance. And the fifth, process and culture. If anybody can put in the chat why these names, you automatically get your submission approved. No, you automatically get
internet points.
Yes, exactly. 12 internet points. So no, I'm just joking. The thing is, we are moving from a persona-based thing to something that aligns with the SDLC, right? So you have the design, you have the implementation. Hopefully, at some point, you test that thing. You put it out there and it works, and then you have to maintain. And beyond all that, you have all those frameworks and things that help this security thing work, which is the process and culture. So we are trying to reflect that into the tracks so that people don't feel, oh, I'm a developer, so I'm going to be on the builder one and not going to move from this chair for the whole 2 days. No, we want people to move around. We want people to find their interests in the things that they need from the SDLC, right? So we're trying this thing out. Now, in Vienna, for the first time, we are also having a conference within a conference with a half a day of mobile content, which we are revolutionarily trying to call MobileCon. Change subject, name subject to changes. So the plan is to every conference have a half a day about something else. Yeah, that's what we are today. Now, I am going to say that this one goes to almost each one and all of you. How many people we have here? 63. 63 people, but actually registered people who probably, hopefully, will watch this recording. So yeah, I'm talking to you that registered and didn't come. Many people don't read the forgotten manual. I sent an email to everybody who was registered saying, hey, we are doing the webinar. We would like to have you write down the title and an abstract, and at the right time, put it on the Q&A channel in the webinar. I did not tell you, email me your slides. I did not tell you, email me why you're not going to be able to come and can I move the time of the webinar. I did not tell you that you got accepted to speak in this webinar and tell everybody about your title and abstract. I did not tell you any of those things. And yet, that's what I got. What does that tell me? That people are not reading the instructions, right? Now, one of the very important things in this submission process is we have instructions. We open this thing called a CFP, a call for presentations, and in it we say, you're going to do this, then you're going to do this, then you're going to do this, and you're not going to do these things here. One very easy way to not get accepted is to not follow that stuff. So the first step for you to get accepted is read the instructions and act accordingly. End of rant.
Maybe I would like to add a bit of a context here. We, as people who review the submissions, we review dozens or sometimes even hundreds of submissions for the conference. And it's exhausting. All of us are volunteers. We do this on, some of us are volunteers, and we do this on our free time. So you need to understand that when you don't follow instructions, this is distracting us. And we need to put more energy into reviewing your submission. And while maybe your idea was great, and maybe you can deliver this talk in a magnificent way, this will just, create, I don't want to say bad energy, but it will definitely take more energy from us. And this could affect the way we rate your talk. So if you follow the instructions and submit the talk in the way we asked for it to be submitted, this will help us to understand what was your intention and what are you going to present.
I'm going to be a bit of a nerd. I'm going to be a bit of a nerd and bring up psychology. I'm going to say the exact same thing Shira said from the exact opposite perspective. When you're selling to somebody, you think about their psychology. You think about what they're going through, their process. And that is exactly what you are doing. You are trying to sell us your talk. Think about the reviewers. You need to convince them. And then you're going to need to convince the audience to come and join your talk versus the other 3 or 4 tracks. So you need to be very careful and think about what are they looking for? For one thing, they're looking for a signal that will help short circuit that process, going through hundreds of talks, and so many of them look so similar. If there are 2 talks about the exact same topic, I'm going to take the one that is slightly better, that gives me a better vibe, that feels like this is going to be a more attractive experience for the audience. Think about that psychology.
And now going on a bit of a tangent. As soon as we say we have 300 submissions that we have to go through, and as soon as Shira reminds everybody that it's energy and we put our time into this, there's always that guy there in the back of the room that says, oh, just use AI. You know what? We explicitly tell people, do not use AI to write your submissions. Why? Because we are putting our time into reading your submission. We want you to put your time into writing it, right? So this is the other side of the coin. We are not going to use AI to read your thing. At least 3 people are going to read your submissions. So please be mindful of their time. Follow the format, follow the instructions. Everybody wins.
Izar, I have to add that also it's not going to be Claude or Gemini that will be presenting your talk. So if you cannot write an appealing abstract, maybe you should not be presenting this.
Yes.
It's communication, right? And don't give us an excuse. Don't give us an excuse to rule you out. Hit all the right marks. That said, moving on, let's talk about the review. Shira, you want to start about what is it we're looking for when reviewing?
Sure, I can definitely start with what I'm looking for. So I want to understand what you're talking about, and I want to understand why is this relevant to our audience. And in the call for papers, it's always very clear who the audience are. Definitely now that there are kind of different tracks, so you can understand who do you want to talk to. Do you want to talk with the person doing the planning or the person doing the QA? So think about this and think about, again, about us, the reviewers. We need to understand what you want to talk about. Why is this going to be interesting and relevant for our audience? If we see something that smells a bit like a vendor's pitch, or that, we end up realizing that you work for this vendor and just part of your talk is going to be about this new tool or new product you're about to release, this is a big no-no. You will be disqualified. We will not be taking this submission no matter what. If you created an open source tool, if you want to present something everyone can use and is not commercialized, we definitely support that.
Especially if it's an OWASP project.
But Shira, I have a startup and we have a free freemium thing. Is that okay?
Perfect. Maybe go to a big 3-letter event in San Francisco. They have the right stage for these kind of events, but it's not the OWASP event.
Indeed. There you go. All right. No, some personal things for me. So the marketing pitch, definitely the big one. Don't give me a vendor talk. The AI generated. If I see M dashes in there, if your opening paragraph starts with "in an era where," if the word delve appears at least twice, that to me smells of AI. As I said, we are not using AI to review. Please don't use AI to write. There is this very strange concept that says that myself, I don't know if you noticed from my accent, I am not a native English speaker. English is still the lingua franca of this thing, so submissions go in English. When I have to submit something, I usually poke a coworker that is a native English speaker and they say, "Can you read this before I submit?" Right? Now, that's a great use of AI. It's correcting your language, right? But don't let it dictate your language. There's a difference. One thing is you wrote, and now you're just running it through a syntax checker. I still use a person. I like to get their feedback as well, but that's just because I work with awesome people. But if you don't have those awesome people, then just go for the AI, right? But know how to use it, know the limits, and don't make it AI flourished rather than AI corrected. Now, very important, things should not be submitted by a third party. Meaning, there are some outfits out there who will come to your startup and say, "Hey, give us money, and we are going to spray your name all over the place until somebody fishes and you present in there." I don't know about other places. Global AppSec events, we don't like that, okay? We want to be able to reach back to the author and ask our questions. We don't want to go through your marketing person to find a place in your agenda and here's my public calendar and find please 30 minutes with. No. We want to be able to, we have a question, we send you an answer, we send you a question, you send your answer. That's how we talk. So do not use third parties. That
I want
is
to
a
emphasize,
disqualifying thing.
Izar, I want to emphasize that this also includes your own company's marketing department.
Yes,
A lot of companies
indeed.
say, you cannot submit, we will submit for you. No, that's not allowed. We will automatically disqualify submissions sent by the marketing department or marketing agency.
I would like
Indeed.
to again give the point of view of the reviewing committee. It happened to us in the past that somebody was accepted and the third party or the marketing person just missed the automated message telling them they got accepted. So what should I do now? Like chase this person on social media, letting them know that, you know, somebody didn't do their job right? If you guys submitted, it tells me that you want to be a part of the conference. So again, our energy is limited. Please don't make us work harder than we already are.
These are technical, professional talks. And you should get your market, if you have a marketing department, have them review it for you. Help them craft the message with you. But you are the person we are talking to. Those questions that Shira said we send, they go to the speaker who is the professional in that space.
Keeping in mind that if you have your marketing department review it, when they tell you you're not selling the product enough, you answer them, good, because that's what we're looking for. Okay? Now, as I said, every submission is reviewed by at least 3 reviewers, sometimes more. We have a wonderful, again, talking about global AppSec events, we have a wonderful team of reviewers, right? They are focused on their specific tracks. So these people know what they're talking about and know what people want to hear about in those specific tracks. It's a very much friend brings a friend. So there's a trust relationship between these reviewers. Reviewers will refuse themselves if for any reason they realize that they are judging somebody that they know, right? So these people are very, very tuned to these things. And, you know, after some years that you are reviewing these things, eventually you come to recognize people's styles and the things that they like to talk about. So I can see a submission by Tanya Janka and Adam Shostak from a kilometer away, right? So I will refuse myself in those cases. What we are looking for the presentations, first of all, it's a specific audience, right? If you want to be very, very broad in this whole thing, then perhaps you're talking about a keynote, probably not your first submission. But for the tracks, you want to focus on a very specific audience. Your abstract has to be clearly written. Why? Because the abstract, after we accept you, is what's going to be available for you to capture the people who are going to sit in your presentation. So they're going to see the title. Wow, that title intrigues me. What's this person talking about? Then the only thing that they're going to have before the presentation is the abstract. So that's the place where you have the ability to actually hook them in and bring them into the room. So it has to be clearly written and it has to be associated with the audience. The applicability, we are looking for stuff that's applicable. Nothing against academics, lovely people, been one of them for a while, but got better. But we want stuff that you can actually use, right? So if you have some research that's turning into a tool that's bringing up results, we want to hear about that. If you have some highly theoretical thing, what would happen if a vulnerability was a perfect sphere in a vacuum? Not so much.
So just cover this already. And yeah, I'm just going to reemphasize again, can't be a marketing pitch. There's a time and a place for companies. They don't show up on stage. Speakers show up on stage. I want to touch on this thing. You know, I presented at this company. Why can't I get accepted to this conference? Or why it's always the same speaker over and over and over again? Well, there's 2 reasons for that. You know, as Izar said, the review is always anonymous. We don't know who we're reviewing. So it's not like they have a backdoor in to automatically get accepted. They clearly know what they're talking about. They clearly have cracked the code of how to write the submission to get accepted. Right? So they know how to do that. And that's part of the reason that the review is all double-blinded with multiple reviewers. so there's no secret code. And if you feel like, well, I've spoken at all these other conferences, why can't I speak at OWASP conferences? There's might be reasons for that as well. It might be your content doesn't fit OWASP. I mean, and that's great might be great at a hacker conference, for example, but not necessarily here. Or perhaps it might be not technical enough or not practical enough. Any other reasons that might happen? Izar, Shira?
Yeah, as you said, like sometimes it's not the best fit, and sometimes you went for a topic that many other people already submitted about, and it's just too crowded. So also try to bring a unique angle to improve your chances.
And I'll also say, not every rejection means your talk is bad. It might be really good, and there's arguments about do we accept this one or not, but someone else won out better. And that's okay too.
Now, just to offer a personal view here, okay? I was fortunate enough to present 4 years in a row. And why did that happen? Because in the first year, I brought a question and a couple of ideas. On the second one, I brought the results of those questions and what those ideas were turning into. The third one, it was, hey, this is the stuff that you can actually use, and here's how you use it. And the fourth one was, okay, so people got that thing and they did it, and here's what they are talking, what they're saying about it. So that continuity, of course, gave me a face into each one of these events. But I just want to use that to illustrate that ideas don't live in a vacuum, right? Once you put them out there, people are going to discuss these things, people are going to hopefully use them, and you are going to get feedback, and that feedback is hopefully going to make things better. And that's an opportunity for you to come back and present again. So yeah, you could become one of these faces that, oh my God, that guy again, right? But there is a reason for that. And to tell you the truth, I am very curious to see these because first, I really enjoy the experience. And second, I think that this continuity has a very, very big value in terms of what it brings to the audience, right? That there were a couple of experiences that I had when people would come and say, hey, I saw your presentation like 2 years ago when you just started this thing, and I used it, and here's what I did with it, and have you thought about putting it this way? And it's mind-blowing. It's the added value of presenting. You're not just getting your face out there and not just getting yourself on YouTube under the OWASP channel. There's a very personal outcome, which is it makes you better as a presenter, as a researcher, as a professional, right? So look for that continuity as well, but enough of the personal thing.
You started talking about the tracks.
Yeah, right. So we have those 5 that I mentioned, and we have another one, which I put in quotes because Avi doesn't like the name. So I'm trying to make him feel like we are considering it and going to change it, but we won't. But the buffer overflow is, we don't think that this goes into any of these other 5. So we are going to put it in this special track where everything else goes. And we called it buffer overflow just to be cute. Now, parenthesis, we did an experiment here. And yes, this time we did use AI. We got the last 5 years of submissions, gave the formal definitions of each one of the tracks to the AI, and said, now sort all these 1019 submissions, sort them into these tracks. There were 2 that didn't fit anywhere. One of them was a submission of mine where I was basically testing the new system. And the other one, I don't know, it was somebody who probably put an elbow on the keyboard or something, and it was just garbage. But we found that these tracks are sufficient to actually slot everything into them. So they're good. Now, we are asking you to talk about things that you know and the lessons learned. Your successes, which is always good. Hey, people, I did this new thing and it's awesome, and I think that you should do it as well. But something that people forget the value of, and I keep hammering this again and again and again. Your failures have value. Because if I can learn from your mistakes, I don't have to make the same mistakes. That's huge, right? So if you fail as part of your failing well, come and tell us. We want to hear that too.
As they say, you win or you learn. If you learned, come and share that.
That guy jits. Yeah. All right. We want to hear what you're doing, right? So a lot of people say, hey, we had this problem at our workplace and we solve it this way and this way. And then I talked to three guys and three persons, and they also said, hey, we have the same problem. So let's the four of us work on an open source way to solve it. We want to hear about that. Perhaps by you coming and telling us what problem you're solving, you're going to find those people who are going to say, hey, I need to solve that as well. Let's work together. And before you know, you're the next unicorn. And yes, the events committee gets shares. So be generous. We're here. But
You, you
the
know how
point is,
bad you know how bad managers in TV shows always say, "Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions." Well, we want both.
yeah,
We're
we want
focusing.
both. Exactly. We think that a problem badly solved is by itself a solution. Right? So it's a solution that nobody's going to try. So we want to hear those as well. And most important, and we love this one, and when I say we, I say all the army of reviewers, surprise us, right? We like to think that we are really smart, but we know that we are not. So be smarter than us, surprise us. It's awesome when somebody comes with like a new angle and things just happen. The
Very importantly,
caveats.
we've said this before, and we're going to say it again, and probably a few more times. Do not try to sell. Do not try to sell your product. Do not sell your service. Do not sell your own personal weblog or cat photography service. That's not what the talks are about. Don't be negative. Don't need to put everybody else down. There's a time and a place for everything. Try to come with a positive attitude. I, yeah, I can't even. I've seen some really bad AI generated submissions. Um, just don't. Just don't.
No,
Seriously.
we mean it. Seriously, don't. Like people say, oh, you can't know if something was written by AI. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
We have the
just
technology.
spray and pray just don't work because they get reviewed by humans who are looking for this. We've seen enough to know what we're looking at. We don't want that. And we just, yeah. Also, I'll point out if you try, well, let's try a couple of AI generated ones and also ones written by hand. Odds are we're going to pick up the similarities of the patterns and realize, well, this is probably associated and try and might have a reason to exclude you because of the AI slop in the other submission that you gave.
Yes.
Not always, but sometimes.
Yes. No, wait, go back one, go back one. Did we address the second one, the belittle water first?
Nah,
Yeah.
it's not important. Yeah, go ahead.
So let me just take one small parenthesis here. Sending in a submission that says, I am going to prove you that the other guy is wrong, probably not going to be submitted, unless, of course, the events committee also doesn't like the other guy. But that doesn't happen a lot because we basically like everybody. But don't build your work on top of somebody else's, on the negation of somebody else's. Okay, build
Somebody
it on the
or
merits of
another
yours.
company. Like here's why all the other application security companies fail. Just talk
There you
about
go.
what you found that works really well and teach us how to do it.
Or
Exactly.
either other ideas. Most recently, I saw a talk. Why Stride is stupid and everybody who ever used it is stupid and you're stupid too. I'm exaggerating. I think there's
Oh,
one less
wait,
stupid in that.
can
No,
I
you
talk
can't.
about that?
Well, that's the belittling, right?
Yeah.
You could say
Anyway,
why your way works better, but saying everything else is stupid because nobody else ever had the brilliant idea that I just had. Yeah, that doesn't get
a
points.
very powerful way to say all those other people have not solved this problem is to say, this is still an open problem and here's why. So don't look at why the other solutions are bad. Look at why the problem is still a problem. Okay? So there's always a positive way to frame almost everything. If you feel like you have to build your work on top of somebody else's, stop, think a bit more, see how you reframe that thing into something that's positive, and come in.
I do want to
And
put a sharper note on that, Izar. because it is okay to talk about drawbacks of a certain thing as long as you are holding the nuance that there's a reason that that idea or that person is popular or worked or for people using that, and it's still is an open problem. So you need
Yes.
to hold that nuance, hold both those things at the same time, and balance that out.
Yep.
Okay. Titles.
Oh, this is the one that we really, really like. I love this slide. Okay. So, cliches and memes and puns. Again, we like to think of ourselves as smart people. Smart people usually enjoy sarcasm, cynicism, and word games. We love those, but we can't keep seeing the same ones again and again and again, right? So, people, anything that starts with a day in the life, no. Anything that goes X for fun and profit, where X can be anything, no. How CVEs relate to Pokemons, the problem here is not the CVE, the problem here is the Pokemon. The best practices of whatever. One best practice of submissions is do not talk about the best practices of whatever. An overview of why you are in the conference, global level. We are a bit past overviews, so don't. State of the Z. You know what? When you can talk about the whole of Z, then you tell me the state of Z, right? Chances are that you can't. So avoid these cliches, memes, and puns and stuff. On the other hand, how to is a very welcome exception. It's great to learn how to do something. On the other hand, we want you to be succinct. Do not put your abstract in your title. It's not exactly, is it still called a tweet? And is it still limited to 140 characters? Something like that. But you want to be short. You want to go to the point, right? You have to make sure that it's clear, the intent is clear, and the wisp of the content that's going to make me go ahead and read your abstract as a person attending the conference, that it's clear. You're going to avoid buzzwords. Lord knows that it's difficult, but you will. You're going to avoid market speak, which sometimes is confused with buzzwords, but if you check on the dictionary, they are pretty different. Now, there is one winning formula, something that we keep seeing and always never fails to make people read again. What? How? So here's my problem, and here's where I'm solving it. Here's your problem, and here's why perhaps you should be solving it in a different way. All kinds
Here's
of
what I'm trying
variations.
to achieve and how I
Exactly.
achieved it. It's not always problems.
It's always problems.
Well, the problem is I haven't achieved it yet. Here's
Yeah.
some good examples. So some good examples that we saw, from traditional to intelligent fuzzing, embracing AI and security testing. My one niggle there is that it's very wordy, a bit long, but it still works because it takes you end to end. And again, it's what and how.
But with that said, even though you have a buzzword in there, fuzzing, it's in context because it's talking about security testing, right? So it's not a fuzzy use of fuzzing. We are not talking about fuzzy lodging. We are not talking about fuses going dark, going bang in the night. We are talking about fuzzing in the context of security testing. So it may not be concise, but it's clear. It's taking you by the hand on this is what I'm talking about, and this is where I'm taking you, right? Then policy as code, cross the stack. Woo, that one I remember still the discussion around it. Policy as code is awesome, right? This was before the OAS and all that stuff. But now this person wanted to say, hey, it's good for more than what you people see. It was an Oprah approach. It's good for this, and it's good for that, and it's good for the other one, right? So we wanted to hear more about that. How to avoid potholes when scaling your application security program, even
How
though it
to,
doesn't
right
go.
there. How to is right there at the beginning
Exactly.
and tells you exactly what you're getting to.
And it's getting a bit funny because now it's saying, hey, there's a roadmap. What's the problem with roads? Potholes, right? So if you want to avoid the potholes on your roadmap, you come to my submission. No code you shall use, malware you shall get. Immediately brings you to none shall pass, right? And I don't know. It's just, it flows nicely, right?
Talks
If you
to
do
our
this,
geeky heart.
exactly. If you do this thing, then you're going to get this bad outcome. But it manages to pass the message very succinctly, very to the point. You know what this thing is going to be about. And the OpenCRE, the Universal Translator for Security, it's presenting, first of all, a .org. You already know that this thing is most probably free, open source, good stuff.
Project.
But then it's like OpenCRE. What? Doesn't tell me absolutely anything. But then comes the Universal Translator for Security. Ooh, nice. What could that be? I don't know. Let me go and listen to it. Right? So there's that hook that's bringing you into the presentation to understand what is this? Is this a new big thing that I should get into the ground floor so that I can be a founding member or something like that, right? So people get drawn by this kind of thing. Honorable mention, scanning container images for fun and compliance. This one goes against the meme thing. Remembers the X for fun and profit? I remember the discussion around this one. We spent a lot of time saying it's not for profit, it's for compliance. I like it because
It's a twist.
It's a twist.
Because
but
compliance
it's a twist.
is not fun.
Exactly. Exactly. Shira
It's
went
it
exactly
sets up
where it was.
It sets you up to expect what you're going to read and then subverts your expectations. It rubs your brain in the nice way.
It breaks the mold.
I think that to sum up, you just need to remember that the title is the first thing we're going to learn about your submission. I'm not even talking about when you get accepted, but this is the first thing we're going to see. And if the title is bad, it's too long, or it uses one of the templates we recommend not using, it already creates a negative atmosphere, and we are already expecting something not good that we're going to read in the abstract. So having a good title is a great start. And then don't forget that the title will then be used at the event. So this should also, you should keep in mind the audience again, because you are competing against very, very good talks that get accepted and will be presented in parallel. And you want many people to come and see your talk, of course. So keep that in mind.
The title is the first thing we see, as Shira said, but sometimes it's the only thing we see. If the title is that bad, and I've seen plenty of titles that I didn't even bother reading the abstract.
Yep, definitely. Definitely.
Speaking of abstract, take us through this real quick.
So, an abstract, when you look into the dictionary, is something that summarizes or concentrates the essentials of a larger thing or several things. The thing is, in your submission, we're asking for three things. We're asking for the title, the abstract, and the outline. The title is where you're going to get people interested. The abstract is where you're going to bring them into the room. The outline is where you're going to convince the reviewers that you should be presenting this. So the abstract is exactly that short thing that's going to tell the people that you want to walk into the room and sit and remain seated why they should do that. That's where you're doing your hardest selling job, as Avi said. This is where you're going to work your brain out and say, how can I get this whole 45 minutes of content that I have, bring it down to one paragraph and convince people that they want to listen to the rest, right? So, assuming that your title is good, this is where you actually complete the capture of the audience. This is what brings people into the room and let them be there. Short and to the point, historically, has been better than long and convoluted. Avoid over-academic language. Keep it simple, right? People have very, very, very short attention. What I was talking about? Spans. So you want to keep this thing very, very short, and you want people to be able to consume the thing almost like a tweet. Let them know what they're taking out of this. It's very important for people to understand that their time is going to be awarded, that they're going to get something out of the 45 minutes that they're going to give it to you. So let them know in the abstract, what is it that they're taking away from it? Again, avoid market speak, please. Do not use ChatGPT at all, because you know what? The tone is going to be lost. Even if you start with, you are now a very experienced presenter and you are going to write an abstract for your presentation. No, ChatGPT is not going to do miracles for you. write something that you would like to read. Write the thing that would make you walk into that room and sit down and stay for 45 minutes.
Exactly. And
And
remember the buyer psychology. When I'm looking at the agenda, I'm looking for three things. And everybody's looking for these same exact things. Three things. Is this relevant to me, to my work, to a problem that I have? Will this be useful to me? Will help me solve those problems, give me benefit more than going to any other talk? And will this be an enjoyable experience for me? The first one you get in the title. Is this relevant to me? The title hooks them to get them to read the abstract. This is relevant to a problem that I have. This is relevant to a topic of interest to me. In the abstract, you have to do two things. This will solve your problem and address that problem and give them that vibe, that funny, that experience that this will be enjoyable. You about to say something else, Izar?
Nope.
Okay. Bad examples. Go.
Just a second. Answering a question. Okay. So this is a list of less than perfect examples of abstracts, right? So using a dedicated learning path with product X, right? You already went to product X. No, I'm not reading. We stop there. The omnipresence of open source software and low barrier of entry on X is serving as a catalyst for. If I have to interpret it using my higher marketing parsing functions, or if I have to have a PhD to understand what the hell I'm talking about, you lost me. Discovering open source vulnerabilities became a commodity. That hard part is now prioritizing the remediation, avoiding ChatGPT wrote this. Forget about it.
And nobody knows what it actually says.
Yeah, I told ChatGPT, this is my title, write an abstract, this is what it came out with. Okay, so no, just don't. Now, notice, we are not talking about length. We are not talking about language. We are talking about content here, right? So don't say, oh, my abstract is one sentence. That's horrible. It's not horrible. It's probably lacking in details. But the fact that it's a sentence, you know what? If you manage to write the perfect sentence, I want to learn from you.
We've seen a couple of those.
Yes. Yeah. Now, it's not that we are saying don't be detailed, but there's a difference between detailed and overly unnecessarily complex, right? So if you're not passing an idea clearly, then chances are that people are not absorbing it clearly.
Chances are that you're not the right person to deliver this topic on stage right now.
Exactly. You know, think of this as a 30-second pitch for a startup on an elevator, right? You have just that limited time to get your story through so that somebody is going to give you all those of money. If you don't, they're walking away and you're not going to get the chance again. In our case, you will get the chance again, but you are still trying to convey a complex idea in a very, very limited time and space. So make the best of it that you can.
On the other hand, I'm going to give you an example of a slightly better submission, one of the best submissions I've seen, actually, and one of the best talks. Shout out to Daniel Janka, who is one of the best speakers I've seen and regularly gets rejected from conferences all over the place. With that being said, start off with the title, DevSecOps Worst Practices. Again, takes that best practices title and reverses that. And lives up to it. And she talks about, we're often told, best practices, we're told what to do, but not why. So you don't understand them. You don't know what to do with that. And we are told to ensure no false positives, but not all best practices make sense on first blush. Let's explore tried, tested, and failed methods. In other words, things that would pass through all of your checklist, everything that should be best practices, and everybody uses them, but they fail repeatedly. And flip them so we know not just what to do to avoid them, but why, so that we can actually understand the patterns and apply this elsewhere.
Now notice that the parts in bold here are not from the original. We bolded them. Why? because we believe that these bring out exactly all the stuff that we've been talking about for the past 57 minutes, right? And something that Avi just mentioned, to me personally, it's the most important thing. It's something that completely changed the way that I present. And it's the famous start with why. Because people want to know why the hell they're here, why they're giving you money, why they're giving you time, right? So
Why
if you
should
put
they
that
come
up
to your
front,
talk?
there. So if you put that up front and it's clear to people why you're doing this, why you're talking about this stuff, why it's important, chances are that you're going to grab them by the attention center.
And if you don't, then you won't.
Yes. So after the abstract, we come to the longer description. So the title was the call out, the abstract brought people into the room. The longer description is where you have a chance to talk to the reviewers and convince them that you are the person to talk about this thing, right? So we don't want to see your slides. No. Nobody has time to that. And I am a frank believer that you finish slides 5 minutes after you start talking. At least that's what I do. We also don't want to see a blow by blow. I'm going to talk about this, then I'm going to move to the next slide, then I'm going to talk that, and then I'm going to move sideways and jump, and that's going to be my gimmick for the thing, right? Don't. We want to see the data that you have, the sources that you have, any previous work that you're going to build on. Again, don't self-identify. Very important. Do not self-identify, right? If you happen to put a PDF in there, make sure that it's anonymized. Very important, do not self-identify. We disqualify people. Remember the RTFM? That's one of the things in there. We disqualify people for self-identifying. We do not want to be influenced by who you are. If you mention a tool, make sure that you call out if it's open source or commercial, even if it's freemium. Don't make us do the hard work of going and Googling for the latest incredibly well-named tool that could be anything, right? What was the other day? A tool called, I forget, but it was like a word, something like and. Yeah, I'm gonna Google for and open source tool. It's gonna be awesome, right? So work with us. Give us the details that we need to understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the right place for you to give us the information we need without us sending you another message and asking you for more details. So the abstract should be short because it will also be presented to the audience, but the long description is for us, for the committee, to read so that we understand if we have two talks about approximately the same topic and we only need to choose one, we will feel that your abstract or your submission is the one we want to see at the conference. It will give the best value to our audience. They will feel happy they came to your talk. Then we will know your talk is the right one for us to accept.
I do want to
That is
address
super important. Just a second, Abhi. That's a super important point. Okay, because every year we get a lot of things about the same thing. Can people imagine how many submissions we have about AI in the last 2 years? So if two people are coming to say threat modeling with AI, I want to know how they are different. The title is not going to tell me. The abstract is probably not going to tell me. The longer description, that's where I'm going to learn why one is better than the other. So use that thing to show what you're talking about and show that you know what you're talking about. And very important, it's very easy to fall into the trap of when you're talking about something that you are really immersed into and that you know, to skip important details because you assume that the other person already knows what you're talking about. So without being overly going deep into the fundamentals, if you're proposing something new, if you have a novel idea, make sure to write it in the outline. This is why my thing is new, right? So that we can sort of like look inside your head and really be curious and want to hear more about it.
I'm also going to add one more thing, and this might address Anita's question there. One other thing that you can put into the longer description, Izar was very clear. You don't put any identifying information. One piece of relevant context that you can put in there. If you are talking about an OWASP project and you are the project leader, don't mention your name because there's still going to be several leaders. But you could say, I'm going to talk about the ASVS and I should talk about the ASVS because I am one of the leaders of the ASVS project, as an example. If you're the leader of the Gen IA project, mention that if you're talking about content of that project. That is the only place to mention not who you are, but just that you are relevant to speak about this specific project. Now, we did say we're only going to be talking about the CFP, the submission process, but we do want to give a few little quick tips for assuming a lot of you are going to be first-time speakers. So we want to give some quick tips here as well. Shira, you want to
go? Yeah, sure. First of all, we all had our first gig at some point. So come on, like it has to be your first time at some point. The sooner you start, the better you will get. So please do not be afraid. Even though Izar told us or shared with us that he prepares his talks and his slides until the very last minute, if this is the first time you are this is something you can do after you've been presenting for a while and you feel pretty confident and you can actually be surprised with slides you forgot about or you didn't even prepare yourself. But practice your talk before delivering it for the first time. Practice with your family, with your colleagues, with your friends, just so that it will not be as scary on stage on the first time. Focus on the audience. Again, always keep in mind what is their takeaway. Remember why they came here and remember what you want to give them, what they will keep with them as they leave the room. This is going to be a very busy conference. They will be hearing a lot of things. They will forget 90% of what you share with them. But even for me, as I was preparing for our meeting today, I thought about the last event I attended, DevOps Days, and I thought about something really interesting that came to mind after I heard the talk, 30 minutes about a topic, but there was one specific really cool takeaway I took with me, and I still use it when I want to give reference to bad practices. I give a reference from that talk. So give people ideas and information that will be useful for them in their day-to-day work. Yeah, anyone else wants to join?
I want to talk about the practice. The more you practice, the smoother it will go. Don't learn it by heart. Don't recite your talk, but practice in a few different ways. Shira said, practice with yourself, present to other people. You get over that fear. The fear of
Avi, you can present to ChatGPT and ask for feedback.
That is fascinating. I did not know that one. That's interesting.
Don't.
But supposedly fear.
I'm curious.
Fear of public speaking.
ChatGPT is way too obsequious. They will want to please you. Do not. Next.
That's a really good point. But apparently the fear of public speaking ranks up there with death and burning heart. So practice with other people will help you get over it, but also practice with yourself. Forget ChatGPT. Record yourself and then watch it. Watch it 3 different times. Just listen. Don't watch. Shut off the volume. Just watch your body language as you present. You learn so much from that. And then shut off the volume, shut off the video, get a transcription, feed that into ChatGPT, because you're going to point out that I'm constantly stopping to you'll notice that in the transcription. So you pick that up and practice again. After you get it perfect, practice again. And I'm going to emphasize practice, especially the beginning. I've noticed it for a lot of people, especially for myself. When I start well, the whole thing flows well. If I fumble on the first few sentences, I fumble the entire talk. So get the first few sentences right. Get really easy lines for you to deliver to pull everybody in the first few sentences, and you'll flow from there. I'm also going to point out, you make mistakes all the time. Everybody makes mistakes, but that's okay. Nobody knows it's a mistake. That's planned. Just keep going. This was the plan all along. And I'm going to give one of the tips that I got as a first-time speaker, and a shout out to Ofer Shezaf, created the OWASP Israel chapter. I was presenting, and he told me, you have too many slides. He said to me, just delete slides 9 to 32. You don't need them. He didn't see my slides, but you know what? He was right. I didn't need slides 9 to 32. Just delete them, and that's always the case. Focus on the germ of the only talk about the specific idea and nothing else. Leave out everything else. Slow down. Don't forget to breathe. Izar?
So these are all great points. I am just going to substitute the use of ChatGPT or any other AI here. Instead, get two people with tennis balls. Why tennis balls? Somebody's talking in front of you, and they're bouncing a tennis ball on their hand, up and down. Yeah, Avi is incapable of, but that apart. Up and down, up and down. Your head goes somewhere else. You're talking in front of somebody else. They're bouncing a tennis ball on the wall. Your head goes to a completely different place. You're talking in front of somebody else. They throw a tennis ball at you. Your head goes to a completely different place. So take two people, give them tennis balls, present to them. That's going to make you a better presenter.
And if you're really bad, they'll throw it at you.
Yeah. Now, personal example, and please don't see this as a plug, but what you do when things go bad. The year was 2023. I was in Amsterdam presenting at the Go-To Developer Conference. Now, for some reason, my anxiety was like at top numbers, right? And I started my talk, and in front of me, there were two people, and they were talking to each other. And for some reason, I fixated on those two. If you go to YouTube and you see that presentation, you're going to see that for the first 5 or 10 minutes, my voice is trembling, like trembling. You can hear my voice that is going. At some point, you can basically look at my face and see that what's going through my head is I'm going to throw this mic up and I am going to walk out of the stage right now. And the only thing that stopped me from doing that was stopping and breathing. Those two people talking in the audience, they have nothing to do with me. They are not talking about what I'm talking. They have their own thing going on. Nothing to do with me. The fact that there's a clock, the fact that this is a big stage, nothing to do with me. I woke up this morning with a message and I came here to deliver that message. So I cannot understate the value of slowing down, breathing, getting yourself composed again, and going for it. Now, for first-time speakers, yes, I agree with Avi. Practice, practice, practice. It's really, really, really important. I just want to point out that there are some people out there who are very, very, very good speakers, which I dearly envy, that are able to get a script and go through the script, and you don't know that it's a script. They are delivering it perfectly. There aren't many of those out there. You will fumble, you will forget what was the next thing that you were going to say. You will say, You will look at your presenter notes. They will not be in front of you because who knows how PowerPoint works. It's a mystery, right? But you will have to stop and recompose yourself at some point. On the other hand, again, personal. I stopped trying this script thing and this practice thing a long time ago. Write your slides in a way that if you look at them, it triggers what is the message that you want to bring. Let that drive you. It makes you a very natural speaker. Natural speakers are more relatable. So if you are relatable to your audience, you are going to deliver a better message. So work on that as well. Once you have the submission, once it got approved, work on making yourself relatable. Find somebody that you like the way that they present. Watch them once, twice, 3 times. Understand not what they're presenting about, understand how they're presenting it. Understand the way that they use their body language. Right now, for example, I'm standing. Why? Because I want my buns to look better? No, because I like to move when I talk. right? If I was sitting in a chair right now presenting, I'll be speaking in a completely different way. So I stand because I like to jump around. I want to move. I want to point at things. So let your body language drive you. And if you need, find somebody to copy. It's a great way of giving somebody of saying that somebody is good if you try to copy them. Not the tone of voice, not the way that they speak. Believe me, nobody wants to be the next Steve Jobs. But find something that you like and try to make that yours.
And body language, physical behavior drives vocal behavior, drives your vocal, and that drives the message. And remember, the message is what's important. You are not important. You are not the point of being on stage. It's your message. You're there
Yes.
to share the message. As Izar said, you woke up in the morning to share the message. Focus on that. The audience is there for your message. They don't care if you say If you do it too much, it might be distracting. So you want to polish that as much as possible. But that's not the problem. The message is the point. Shira, anything to add?
No, I think we covered it. Everyone had their first time. That's it.
So just one moment before we start wrapping up and moving into the hands-on section, going to point out that you can ask for feedback, right? Events committee, Izar, you can ask for mentorship once you have the presentation. You can practice it. You can ask for mentors, as Izar said. You can ask for people that you enjoy the way they speak. Ask them for feedback on it. You want to talk more about mentorship?
So many of us don't have the advantage and the benefit of having a network that I can fall upon, right? But this is one of the added values of OWASP. The Slack is there, and just go in there, say, hey, people, I have an idea for a presentation. I'm looking for people to bounce it against. I'm sure that somebody's going to jump up. So make use of this community that you don't know that you have and build your own network, right? Try to get people who have already been to these conferences. So perhaps people in your workplace who have gone for training or have attended conferences in other instances. Ask them, hey, if you saw this as a title, would this be interesting to you? Right? And go from there. Yep. And we really hope to see you presenting in our next events. I mean, at the end of the day, our message is we are here for you. So the best stuff that you bring in, we are going to help you. We're going to try and help you make the best out of it. So submit often and early.
So, walk us out.
So in closing, RTFM, then RTFM again, then again, make sure, make a checklist, write it down, go down it, make sure that you're doing all the things that you need to do, you're not doing all the things that you shouldn't be doing. The title catches the reader, the abstract brings them into the room, and the outline convinces the reviewers that you are the person to talk about that thing. Very, very important. The CFP for Vienna is closing on February 3rd. We are opening the one for San Francisco in mid-February, and it's going to be open for 3 months, and you will be presenting in November. So get cranking with those ideas, get cranking with those submissions. We are looking forward to what you have.
Here are contact details if you want to reach out to us. Shira, any last words you want to
add? Maybe let's use the time for some questions because we had some questions on the chat.
We have some questions on the chat and some submissions were sent in the Q&A that we can take a few minutes to look at. But I do want to take a moment to, this is the end of the workshop. Now we're going to do the hands-on stuff. So thank you all for joining us. Feel free to stick around while we talk through some of the submissions that people have shared. And we'll answer some questions now as well. Okay. All right. What do you want to go through first?
Let's take one of the submissions in the Q&A to open stuff up.
Sure. Let's start with the first one from Frank. Put his name in, so I guess we can use that. Deploying a strict content security policy in production without breaking applications. First thoughts on the title.
If it got to production, it shouldn't be breaking anything.
That's your first thought.
That's where it goes first, right? So I'm saying if you're deploying your CSP in there and there's a chance that it breaks something, then you failed before that. So why do I sit 45 minutes to listen to that?
Also, it might feel a little long, just a
I was
bit.
going to say.
It's not that it's long, it's that the words are very long. The words
Yeah.
themselves.
Yes. But overall, it's a long title.
How would you rework this to make it more interesting title?
Not sure. I need to think about it. Let's
I would
go
ask,
with the abstract maybe.
I would take the production out. I would say, can you deploy strict CSP without breaking applications? Because now I'm challenging people. Now I'm asking, hey, can you do this? Do you think that you can do it? I'm going to show you how, but do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Come and discuss with me.
I'm going to take that one step further, and you might not agree with me going too far. And I call this the Reddit syndrome, right? You can't deploy CSP without breaking applications. That triggers people. That's the Reddit. You post that, and people are going to say, hey, "What that? You're talking crap." Of course you can. And here's
Yeah,
okay.
but I'm gonna challenge you on that one, because if you're going to reduce things to Reddit, I don't want a bunch of people sitting in front of me when I'm presenting, and the only thing that they can think is, man, this guy's completely wrong, and I am gonna show him how.
It's
That's
very
the Reddit energy.
it's very delicate. It really depends, right? You have to balance that.
It's going to be bringing the wrong crowd. It's not going to bring the crowd that wants to learn how to do it. It's going to bring the crowd that wants to prove to you that you are full of shit and they know how.
Sometimes, yeah.
So the abstract. Let's take a look at
Abstract.
the abstract. Is there any way for us to share the abstract title, the abstract text with people, rather than we reading it?
I don't think so. I mean, you could drop it in the
The
chat.
Q&A is only available to us?
Actually,
Yeah.
I think so. So wait, I'm going to cut and paste, put it on a slide. Okay, Avi, go to one slide past the end.
For what it's worth, Frank just pasted it into chat.
No, I just put it in here. One more.
Nope, because I am in presentation mode.
Oh, it doesn't read the changes? There you go. Okay, so there we go. CSP is one of the most effective browser-side mitigation against cross-site scripting, yet strict enforcement remains rare in production systems. Okay, so you're assuming that people don't know CSP and what it's good for nowadays. A challenge is not theoretical knowledge, but the practical difficulty of applying CSP to complex legacy. I would remove the first sentence, jump straight into the challenge. I think that it's safe in this day and age to assume that people who come to an OWASP event mostly know what CSP is about. The talk presents real-world lessons. You already got me interested there. Learn from deploying CSP in large-scale security-sensitive financial platforms. Financial platforms, very, very sensitive to failure. Second point that makes me interested.
And most of them are legacy.
Good point. It covers an incremental rollout strategy, common failure modes, and techniques for identifying and resolving policy violation safety. So it already shows me that there was some failure happening here, and here's how we got past the failure. Attendees will learn how to move from report only to enforcement, how to handle legacy code and third-party integrations, and how to make a CSP sustainable part of a defense in-depth security strategy. So this is the one that actually hooks me at the end, because it's telling me what I'm going to get from it, right? But not only we are going to come and talk about CSP as it is, how you make that thing work, right? But you're also going to tell me how it works as part of defense in depth. So you're probably going to tell me when it doesn't work and what else do I have to put in place so that I am actually protected. So you're going past the CSP thing and telling me there is more. And I am going to tell you what this more is. Perhaps not in such depth, but I'm going to let you leave with a complete idea of what you need to get done. So I personally would really like this abstract.
I'm going to call out some specific things that I like here, and Izar kind of touched on this, but again, I mentioned this before, the psychology, right? You hooked me. Okay, this is a problem that I have, but then it wraps up with what are the attendees actually going to get out of this, and that's fantastic, right? Attendees will learn how to move from reporting to enforcement, assuming I know what a CSP is. Oh yeah, that's a big issue. Everybody struggles with that. How to handle legacy code and third-party integrations. Everybody, this is the main challenge with CSP, and I will learn how to deal with that. And then it's not just problems. You give me some upside here as well. You give me some benefit, some plus side to this. How to make CSP a sustainable part, defense in depth. It's not just debugging CSP, but give me the upside to that. So yeah, I really like this as well.
Maybe we have enough time to do one more analysis.
Sure. Let's
Sure.
get the second one.
Here's the next one, anonymous. The mentor-mentee relationship, fostering human connection instead of AI. I'll start that. While I don't like the title, it is enough to pull me in because I like the topic.
So here's the thing. Instead of AI, sounds to me like, by the way, I have to put AI in because everybody wants to hear about stuff with AI. Yoo-hoo, AI is the buzzword of the moment. Let's put AI in there. It's completely disconnected from the rest of the thing for me. Human connection is already important enough for me to pay attention to this. Mentor and mentee relationship is something that everybody encounters in their workplace. And it's an extension of the security champion thing, which is the big thing in process for security, right? So that by itself should be enough to bring me in. I don't need the AI hook in there. If you want to add AI later on and say, hey, AI is not a substitute for people, sure. Or perhaps AI is a substitute for people, I don't know. But putting it in the title to me feels a bit like, here's a buzzword for you to come in and hang on to.
Yeah, it was unnecessary to get us interested. We were interested even without it, even though from the first look, I'm not sure yet as an attendee, what am I going to get out of this? So just putting it out there. I mean, is this talk more for the mentors, more for the mentees? I'm not sure yet. This is why I have to keep on reading the abstract.
And something else that I'm not sure of yet until I read the abstract. Does this have anything to do with AppSec?
Yes.
It might. It's likely, but I'm missing that. So I want to see how, again, I'm not a fan of the title, but I'm a fan of the topic, and I would read more to find out what. It's intriguing. It's intriguing. I'll give you that. But you want to pull this back to, okay, what is the AppSec here?
And something that we are forgetting, and I should have mentioned that in the previous one, which track is this going to, right? Because, for example, the previous one, the CSP, could go to developer, could go to deployment. So there's a question to be asked in there, which one is
Probably
the
going
most
to
appropriate?
culture.
The CSP?
No, the
No.
previous one.
This
The
one.
CSP.
Not this one.
This one is definitely going to culture, right? But with that, if you're promising a short abstract, then you have to give me a short abstract. The first two sentences explaining where mentoring comes from and why it's important.
Not the first. This is a big problem I'm seeing in this abstract. It's not the first two sentences. It's like a very big paragraph.
Exactly.
And we don't need an explanation about what is mentorship. So I would just get rid of the first paragraph altogether. And I took a quick look at the next part. I think it's quite exciting to hear about the learnings of a duo that met in the OWASP mentorship program. It's really cool. And this is the topic of this talk. This is why people should come, because they want to learn how to become better mentors and mentees in the AppSec community, how to, develop your career. What are you going to get out of it? Both the mentor and mentee. So as a topic, this is an exciting topic. The title does not capture this, and the abstract is definitely too long and like missing the point. If I was reading this in a review, in a real review committee, after the first, this would kill me after the first paragraph. Like I don't want to keep on reading.
And
Now,
it's a big indicator that the talk itself will be like this as well. It feels a bit rambly, and I'm looking for the germ of what the idea is, and I think it's there. Drop the last paragraph, drop the first 2/3, right? There's a few sentences there that are relevant, but it's still missing. Make this impactful for AppSec, whether it's the AppSec community, the AppSec practice at work. Here's an idea. Can you connect this to a champions program? Just as an example. I'm throwing it out there. Now you'd have me hooked. Mentorship as part of the champions program.
okay, we get into the top of the hour, so I just want to play an Avi here and go to the psychology of the thing. If you're telling me mentor and mentee relationship on the title, but the first thing that you do in the abstract is explain to me what a mentor is, you're just telling me you got here by reading a title that you don't know what it means. So there's no point in doing that. You're just adding information that's taking space, and nobody's getting richer by that. Then, when I pass those two initial sentences and I get to, in the current rapidly changing age of AI, two thoughts to my mind. First, disaster movie, right? You know the reader in the background. In an age where climate change is our biggest problem, that's where it puts me. I don't want to go there. Second, this is a clear stamp of Gen AI being used. Gen AI loves this thing of in an era, in the time, now that we are here, that smells like AI. Okay, I'll be dropping this like a hot potato. To go to Avi's point of connecting it with a security champion program, I like how at the end it connects to the OWASP mentorship thing, right? You are closing a circle. Hey, here I am telling you about this mentorship thing. By the way, OWASP, this thing, this umbrella that's over us in this event, they have a mentorship thing and you should go there. Right? So I like how it closes the loop. It brings it closer. I don't know if it's a person who's responsible for the mentorship program. I would love if it was. But even if it isn't, if they can tell us about their experience with the OWASP mentorship thing, how did that help or didn't help them, and what could be improved in it, that'd be awesome.
That being said, the whole last paragraph, sure, mention the mentorship program if it's a resource that you're talking about. Mention it if that's what the topic is. I don't think this talk is about the mentorship program. So I would drop the whole last paragraph and move the mention of the mentorship program to where you're talking about resources or solutions.
Yep. That's a good one.
And again, bring it back to, okay, what is the practical use here? Is this for the practice? Is it for the community? Is it for personal career growth? That might be good too. Doesn't have to be the champions. I would actually like to see this talk, but not as the way it's written wouldn't get accepted, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that's all we have time for, folks. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Any last words from either one of you?
Looking forward to seeing all the submissions from the many people who attended our event today.
I'm looking at some of the titles that were submitted here. I have mixed feelings about Garth's title, Fear and Loathing with SAST False Positives. It does it for me. It almost falls into the bad patterns that Izar was talking about, but it's geeky enough, it's nerdy enough that pulls me back in. And plus,
I would give that one the benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. That's all we have time for, folks. Thank you all very much. I'll put back this slide if you want contact details. Thanks very much, and good luck. Good submitting.
So, people, before we part, yes, we are open for mentorship. Yes, you can contact us before you submit so that there is no self-identifying issue. Please take into consideration we do this in our enormous free time, and we do this because we love OWASP and we love the people of OWASP. But we do have real jobs, and they are as demanding as yours. So please take into consideration that no, you're not going to get prompt answers. You may be told, I'm sorry, I don't have the bandwidth, not only by me, but by a lot of other people. So keep going. Use the Slack. That's your biggest forum. That's something that you get as a benefit as an OWASP member. And keep submitting, Out of 100 submissions, one will eventually take. And that's the only one that you need.
Good luck, everyone.
Thanks very much for joining us. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye.